Let's create a simple demonstration of some of the predefined variables that we saw on the lecture. I'm going to create a new JSP and call it demonstrate variables. And some of this code we've already seen in previous examples, but to focus our learning on specific predefined variables, we'll point them out and do them formally. So I want to work with the request variable. I've got my simple code here using scriptlet tags and using the request object, which I don't believe we've used yet. We have used the out object. And so inside of my body, I'm going to create a scriptlet using the out object and the println method on the out object, use the request object, and call get remote host. End of scriptlet. I'm going to add another block of scriptlet code and use the request object to get a parameter name and print it out. In my haste to copy and paste, I picked up some extra code, and you can see that the tool is telling me what's going on here. So I'll just go ahead and delete that and clean it up. It's giving me a note that it doesn't like my HTML, or I'm using old HTML syntax. If I put that back and hover over it, you can see there's no end tag. Oh, okay, fine. Which was probably the part of the end tag that I missed before. So very simply, using the out variable, using the request variable, we're going to execute this and write out some static text. Notice we're asking for a parameter name, and so after we run this, we'll pass it in to the URL as we've done before. So we watch the build, we're watching the server publish because changes have been made. I get my host with a call to get remote host. I get a welcome text, which is my static welcome text, and I get null because there's no parameter passed in, a parameter called name. So let's pass that into our URL, and we'll give it a name of John. Okay, and so it's actually picking up the quotes because I included that in the value out of habit. If I take the quotes out, otherwise the quotes become part of the value of the request parameter. If I take the quotes out, I see welcome and the name that's passed in on the request parameter. Okay, let's take a quick look at adding some more using a combination of an expression and our predefined variables. So simply writing out some text, the buffer size is, and a couple of spaces, and a scriptlet expression doing that. Percent equals. As soon as I get the typing correct, the tool helps me out by putting in the closed brackets. I want to have evaluated the expression from the out variable, the predefined out variable, out.get buffer, and the tool is helping me with code completion, so I can just select that from the pop-up menu. It's being filtered as I type, and you can see that I easily make typos, although I'm sure most of you do not. I do, and so you can learn why I feel that the Eclipse tooling is very, very helpful for this kind of thing, and very productive because typos introduce bugs into our software. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to... Now, can I refresh? Is it going to work? Well, let's see. If I simply refresh the browser as it's open, I don't get any additional information. The reason is, if I look at the server, notice the server has to be republished. Okay, so my choice is to run the JSP again or choose publish on the server, which has the same effect. Notice when we come back to the console, it drops our application and restarts our application. We see in the console undeploy and then deploy in our server console. It switches us back to the build console. Please remember that we now have two console windows open, and the tool is switching back and forth between the server console and the build console. But during that last publish, the application was undeployed and redeployed. So hopefully it picked up the new changes that we made to our JSP. Therefore, I should be able to refresh here. If not, I can try rerunning the application. But refresh worked. Why? Because I republished to the server, which undeployed and redeployed my application, and it picked up the new compiled version of my JSP. Okay? So that's a quick, simple demonstration of using some of the common predefined variables in the JSP world. We didn't have to declare these variables. We didn't have to declare requests. We didn't have to declare out. And any of the others in the list that we saw, we wouldn't have to declare those. They would just be automatically available to us as representations of their corresponding Java objects, and we would be able to begin working with them right away.